The cargo container was falling. It weighed more than 3,000 pounds and it was going to crush the two workers standing below it. They saw it coming. They screamed. They could not move fast enough. Moved. She crossed the distance in less than a second. Her hands caught the edge of the container. Her knees bent. Her muscles burned. The metal groaned against her palms, and for one terrible moment she thought her arms would break. But they did not break. She pushed upward, shifted the weight, and guided the container safely to the ground. The two workers stared at her. Their silver skin had gone pale. Their large eyes were wide with shock. They did not speak. They could not speak. Wiped the sweat from her forehead. Her shoulders ached. Her fingers were red and raw. She looked at the workers and gave them a small nod. "Be careful," she said. "The crane is old. It drops things sometimes." She walked away before they could respond. This was her life on Prime. She was a cargo handler in the lower decks of the station. She moved boxes. She lifted crates. She did the work that machines usually did because machines were expensive and humans were cheap. At least, that was what the station managers believed. Prime was one of the largest diplomatic stations in the galaxy. Hundreds of species lived and worked here. There were the tall, elegant with their silver skin and gentle voices. There were the insect-like who communicated through clicking sounds. There were the massive who needed special gravity rooms because they came from a low-gravity world. And there were humans, very few humans. Was one of only 12 humans on the entire station. The others avoided her, not because they disliked her, but because being near a human made the alien species nervous. Humans came from Earth, and Earth was classified as a Class 7. She had heard the whispers. She knew what the aliens said about her planet. They called it a nightmare world, a planet with crushing gravity that would break bones, a planet with extreme temperatures that would kill most species in minutes, a planet filled with apex predators, poisonous plants, and diseases that evolved faster than medicine could cure. The aliens could not understand how anything could survive on such a world, and yet humans had not only survived, they had dominated it. But when they looked they did not see a survivor. They saw a small woman with dark hair and tired eyes. They saw someone who worked in the lower decks and ate alone in the corner of the cafeteria. They saw someone unremarkable. They were wrong. First noticed her 3 days after the cargo incident. He was a senior diplomat, one of the highest ranking on the station. His job was to maintain peace between species, to solve conflicts with words instead of weapons. He was good at his job. He was calm, patient, and intelligent. He had studied many species, but he had never studied humans closely. He found her in the cargo bay, lifting a container that should have required a powered exoskeleton. She was doing it with her bare hands. Her face showed effort but not pain. Her breathing was heavy but controlled. She placed the container on a transport platform, checked the label, and moved to the next one. Approached her slowly. He was tall, nearly 7 feet, and his silver skin reflected the harsh lights of the cargo bay. His voice was soft when he spoke. "You are the human," he said, "the one who saved my workers." Looked up at him, her eyes were dark and calm. "They would have died," she said simply. "I was close enough to help." "That container weighed more than a ton. How did you catch it?" "I used my hands." Waited for more explanation. None came, returned to her work. He should have walked away. He had meetings to attend and reports to write, but something kept him there. Something about this small woman fascinated him. She moved with a quiet efficiency that seemed almost military. Her body was compact but strong, and there was something in her eyes that he could not name. Something old, something dangerous. "Why do you work here?" he asked. "Humans are rare in this sector. You could find better jobs on human stations." Paused. She looked at him again, and this time he saw something flicker in her expression. Pain, perhaps, or love. He could not tell. "I am saving money," she said. "My sister needs me." "Your sister?" "She is on a colony ship, the New Dawn. They are building a new settlement on a planet called Six. She is a botanist. She grows things. His voice softened when she spoke about her sister. She always wanted to make dead worlds green. I told her it was a stupid dream. She told me to shut up and let her dream. Smiled despite himself. She sounds strong. She is the strongest person I know, said. Stronger than me. I just hit things, she creates life. Wanted to ask more questions, but his communicator buzzed. A meeting was starting. He nodded to and turned to leave, but before he walked away, he stopped. What is your name? He asked. I am, thank you for saving my workers. She nodded once, then she returned to her cargo. Over the next few weeks found himself watching her. He told himself it was scientific curiosity. Humans were fascinating creatures, and he was simply studying one up close. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. He was drawn to her in a way he could not explain. He asked his colleague Jin to run a medical scan on. Jin was a medic, one of the best on the station. He agreed reluctantly, accessing health records from her station registration. When Jin saw the results, he nearly dropped his tablet. This cannot be right, he whispered. What is it? Asked. Jin showed him the screen. Her bone density is 3 times higher than us. Her muscle fibers are denser than most species I have ever seen. Her immune system is fighting off diseases that would kill us in hours. And her pain tolerance, Jin shook his head. This woman's body is built for war. By galactic standards, she is not a civilian. She is a weapon. Stared at the data. He thought of the small woman in the cargo bay, the one who ate lunch alone, the one who smiled when she talked about her sister. She does not seem dangerous, he said quietly. That, Jin replied, is exactly what makes her terrifying. 3 days later, the news arrived. A warlord named Wu had blockaded a human colony ship in the outer sectors. He was demanding tribute, territory, and slaves. The ship he had captured was called the New Dawn. Sister was on that ship. And everything changed. The Grand Diplomatic Hall of Prime was the largest room on the station. It could hold 10,000 beings from 100 different species. Today, it was full. Every seat was taken. Every standing space was occupied. The air was thick with tension and fear. Wu had arrived. The warlord stood at the center of the hall, surrounded by his warriors. He was 8 feet tall and covered in thick, dark scales. His eyes were yellow and cold like the eyes of a predator. His claws were long and curved, designed to tear through flesh and bone. When he smiled, his teeth were sharp and white. He was beautiful in the way that a storm is beautiful, powerful, destructive, impossible to stop. I have come to offer you peace, Wu said. His voice was deep and calm. He did not need to shout. The hall was silent and every word carried. The human colony ship is mine now. The 300 humans aboard it are my property. If you wish to dispute this, you may challenge me in the pit. If you do not wish to challenge me, then we have no conflict. The Galactic Council sat on a raised platform at the front of the hall. They were the leaders of the station, representatives from a dozen powerful species. They looked at each other with worried eyes. None of them spoke. They were a warrior species from a Class 4 world. They were apex predators evolved for combat. Their culture was built on strength and conquest. They settled all disputes through arena combat, and Wu was their greatest champion. He had won 40 arena battles. He had never lost. He had killed opponents twice his size without breaking a sweat. No species on the station could match him. Stood near the back of the hall, watching the scene with growing horror. He had spent his entire career building peace between species. He had solved hundreds of conflicts with words and compromise. But this was different. Wu did not want compromise. He wanted submission. And somewhere on that captured ship, Sister was waiting to be sold into slavery. Looked around the hall, searching for. He found her standing near one of the side entrances. She was still wearing her cargo handler uniform. Her face was calm, but her hands were clenched into fists at her sides. She was staring at Wu with an intensity that made his blood run cold. He started moving toward her. On the platform, the council leader was speaking. She was an elderly, her voice weak and shaking. "We must discuss this matter," she said. "There are diplomatic channels we can explore, perhaps a trade agreement or territorial negotiations. We do not need to resort to violence." Wu laughed. It was a terrible sound, like rocks grinding together. "You misunderstand," he said. "There is no negotiation. The humans are mine. If you want them back, you must take them back. That is the way. That is the only way." He spread his arms wide, his claws catching the light. "Is there anyone here brave enough to face me? Anyone at all?" Silence. The council members looked away. The crowd shuffled nervously. No one moved. No one spoke. Then stepped forward. The crowd parted around her as she walked toward the center of the hall. She seemed small against the massive aliens surrounding her. Her footsteps were quiet on the metal floor. She did not rush. She did not hesitate. She walked with the calm confidence of someone who had made a decision and would not change her mind. Wu watched her approach with amusement. His yellow eyes studied her like a predator studying prey. When she stopped in front of him, he towered over her by more than 3 feet. He could have crushed her head with one hand. "What is this?" he asked, his voice dripping with contempt. "A human? You send a human to challenge me?" "I send myself," said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "My sister is on that ship. I will fight for her." Wu laughed again. The sound echoed through the hall. His warriors joined him, their laughter harsh and mocking. "A human female," Wu said. "From a yes, but still just a female. Small, weak, fragile." He leaned down, bringing his face close to hers. "Do you know how many opponents I have killed, little human? Do you know what I will do to you in the pit?" Did not flinch. She did not step back. She met his gaze with steady eyes. "I know exactly what you are," she said. "I have seen predators before. You are not special." Before Wu could respond, pushed through the crowd. He grabbed his arm, pulling her back. "Stop," he said urgently. His voice was shaking. "You cannot do this. I have seen fight. They are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They have torn apart opponents twice your size. I am trying to protect you." Looked at him. There was no anger in her eyes. There was no fear. There was only something old and tired, something that had seen too much and survived anyway. "My sister is on that ship," she said softly. "She is 22 years old. She has never hurt anyone in her life. She just wants to grow flowers on dead planets." His voice cracked slightly. "I promised our mother I would always protect her. I made that promise when I was 12 years old and I have never broken it. I will not break it now." "There must be another way," pleaded. "Give me time. I can negotiate. I can find a solution." Gently removed his hand from her arm. She held it for a moment, her small fingers wrapped around his silver ones. "You are kind," she said. "You have been kind to me since the first day we met, but this is not your fight. This is mine." "You will die," whispered. "He will kill you." Smiled. It was a sad smile, but there was something fierce underneath it, something unbreakable. "Maybe," she said, "but I will not go quietly, and neither will he." She turned back to Wu. The warlord was watching the exchange with growing impatience. His warriors had stopped laughing. Something about the humans' calm was making them uneasy. "I accept your challenge," said loudly so the entire hall could hear. "Tomorrow at dawn in the pit, your rules." Wu studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Very well, little human. Tomorrow I will show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the—" He turned to leave, his warriors falling in behind him. At the door he paused and looked back. "Sleep well tonight. It will be your last night." He left. The hall erupted in chaos. Council members shouted at each other. Reporters swarmed toward, asking questions she did not answer. Aliens whispered to each other, wondering if they had just witnessed bravery or madness. Stood frozen, watching walk away through the crowd. She did not look back. She did not speak to anyone. She simply walked toward the exit alone as she had always been. Jin appeared at side. The medic's face was pale. "She is going to die," Jin said quietly. "You know that, right? They are unbeatable in single combat. She has no chance." Did not respond. He was remembering the look in his eyes, the sadness, the determination, the fire that burned beneath the surface. "I do not know what she is," finally said, "but I do not think she is someone who dies easily." Jin shook his head. "I hope you are right, because tomorrow the entire galaxy will be watching." And somewhere in the depths of space, 300 humans waited on a captured ship, not knowing that a small woman with dark hair and tired eyes was about to fight for their lives. One of them was named, and she was dreaming of flowers. The night was long on Prime. The station's lights dimmed to simulate darkness but did not sleep. She sat in her small room, looking out the window at the endless stars. Somewhere out there, past those distant lights, her sister was waiting. A knock came at her door. She knew who it was before she opened it. Stood in the hallway, his silver skin pale under the dim lights. He looked tired. He looked worried. He looked like a man who had run out of arguments but could not stop trying. "May I come in?" he asked. Stepped aside and let him enter. Her room was small and simple. A bed, a desk, a closet, no decorations. No personal items except for a single photograph stuck to the wall. It showed two young women smiling at the camera. One was younger and less tired. The other was a woman who looked like her but softer, gentler. Her smile was brighter than the sun. Looked at the photograph. "Your sister." Said, "That was taken 5 years ago before she left for the colony program. She wanted a picture of us together. She said she wanted to remember my face." His voice was quiet. "I told her she was being stupid, that we would see each other again soon, that she should stop being so dramatic. You must miss her. Every day." Sat down on the edge of her desk. He was too tall for the small chair. His long legs stretched across the floor and he looked uncomfortable, but he did not complain. "I have been studying humans," he said. "Since I met you, I have read everything I could find. Your history, your biology, your culture. I thought if I understood you better, I could find a way to help you." "And what did you learn?" Was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. "I learned that I do not understand you at all." Almost smiled. "That is the most honest thing anyone has ever said to me." "Your planet," continued, "Earth, it is classified as a Class 7. Do you know what that means? It means that by galactic standards, nothing should be able to survive there. The gravity alone would crush most species. The atmosphere is toxic. The temperature swings are extreme, and the life forms," he shook his head. "You share your world with creatures that could kill you in seconds, predators with claws and teeth, poisonous plants, parasites that eat you from the inside. How did your species survive?" Looked out the window again. The stars were cold and distant. "We did not just survive," she said. "We conquered." She stood up and walked to the window. Her reflection was faint in the glass, a ghost of a woman floating among the stars. "When I was young, my grandmother told me stories about our ancestors. Thousands of years ago, humans were weak. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. We were slower than the predators that hunted us. We were weaker than the animals we needed to eat. By all logic, we should have gone extinct. But you did not." "No, we did not," turned to face him. "Do you know why? Because we refused. We refused to die. When predators attacked, we learned to fight back. When the cold came, we learned to make fire. When disease spread, we learned to heal. When our enemies were stronger, we learned to be smarter. Every time the world tried to kill us, we adapted. We evolved. We became something new." Listened in silence. There was something in her voice that he had never heard before. Pride, pain, a deep, ancient anger that had been burning for thousands of generations. "Earth did not make us gentle," continued. "It made us survivors, it made us relentless, it made us dangerous." She paused. That is what the galaxy does not understand. They look at us and see small, fragile creatures. They see soft skin and dull teeth, but they do not see what is inside. They do not see the fire. What fire? His eyes met his. They were dark and deep, like the void between stars. The fire that refuses to go out. The fire that burns even when everything is lost. Humans do not stop fighting when we are beaten. We do not surrender when we are hurt. We keep going until our bodies break. And sometimes, even then, we keep going. She walked to her closet and opened it. Inside, folded neatly on a shelf, was an old uniform, green and brown, worn and faded. Military. "I was a soldier once," she said. "On Earth, I served for 6 years. I learned how to fight, how to survive, how to keep moving when everything inside me screamed to stop." She touched the fabric gently. "I thought I left that life behind. I thought I could be normal. But the truth is, you cannot escape what Earth made you. You can only choose what to do with it." Stood up, he walked toward her slowly, carefully, as if approaching a wild animal. "Tomorrow," he said, "you will face a creature that has killed 40 opponents. He is stronger than you, faster than you, more experienced than you. How can you possibly win?" Closed the closet door. She turned to face him, and for the first time he saw her smile. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator. "He has never fought a human before," she said. "He does not know what we are. He thinks strength is everything. But strength is not everything. It is not even the most important thing." "Then what is?" "Will," said. "The will to keep fighting when you should be dead. The will to get back up after you fall. The will to endure pain that would break other species. That is what Earth gave us. That is what I am bringing to the pit tomorrow." Was quiet for a long time. He looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time he saw past the small woman and the tired eyes. He saw something ancient, something terrifying, something beautiful. "I was wrong about you," he said softly. "Most people are." He moved toward the door, then stopped. "I cannot fight this battle for you, but I will be there tomorrow, watching, hopping, and when you win, I will be the first to congratulate you." Raised an eyebrow. "When I win?" "Yes," said, "when, not if." He left, the door closed behind him. Stood alone in her room, surrounded by silence and starlight. She thought about Earth. She thought about all the battles her ancestors had fought, all the impossible odds they had overcome. She was not fighting for glory. She was not fighting for pride. She was fighting for a sister who dreamed of growing flowers on dead worlds. A sister who believed that life could exist anywhere if you loved it enough. Tomorrow she would enter the pit. Tomorrow she would face a monster. And tomorrow she would remind the galaxy what humans were made of. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. In the darkness behind her eyelids she saw a smile, bright, warm, full of hope. "Wait for me," she whispered. "I am coming." Dawn was only hours away. The arena at the heart of Prime was a massive circular chamber carved from black stone. It had been built centuries ago by a species that no longer existed. Now it served as the station's official combat arena, where disputes too complex for diplomacy were settled with blood. 10,000 spectators filled the seats around the pit. They came from every species on the station, with their silver skin, with their clicking mandibles, who required special floating seats because of their size. Merchants, diplomats, workers, criminals. They had all come to watch history being made. Or, as most of them believed, to watch a human die. Wu entered first. The warlord walked into the arena like a king entering his throne room. His warriors beat drums behind him. His followers cheered from the stands. He raised his clawed hands, and the sound grew louder, a wave of noise that shook the walls. He was magnificent, 8 feet of scaled muscle built for destruction. His yellow eyes scanned the crowd, drinking in their fear and admiration. He had never lost a fight. He never would. Then entered. She walked alone. No drums, no followers, no cheers. She wore simple clothes, dark pants, a plain shirt. Her hair was tied back. Her feet were bare. She looked small, she looked fragile, she looked like a sacrifice. Some of the spectators laughed. Others looked away, unable to watch what they assumed would be a slaughter. A few whispered prayers to gods that did not know. Sat in the front row, his hands clenched on his knees. Jin was beside him, monitoring a medical scanner. The medic's face was grim. Her heart rate is elevated, Jin murmured. Adrenaline is flooding her system, but her brain activity is. He paused, frowning. Strange, it is calmer than it should be, almost meditative. Did not respond. He could not take his eyes off. In the pit, Wu and faced each other. The warlord towered over her. His shadow fell across her body like a death shroud. Little human, Wu said, loud enough for the crowd to hear. Do you have any last words? Any prayers to your gods? Looked up at him, her face was calm, her eyes were steady. Just one, she said. Do not hold back, I want to beat you at your best. Wu's smile faded. Something flickered in his yellow eyes. Confusion, perhaps, or the first tiny seed of doubt. Then the horn sounded, and the fight began. Wu charged. He moved faster than something his size should be able to move. His claws slashed through the air, aiming for his throat. One hit would kill her. One hit would end everything. Was not there. She moved like water, flowing around his attack. Her body bent and twisted in ways that should have been impossible. She ducked under his arm, rolled past his legs, and came up behind him. Wu spun, snarling. He swung again. Again she dodged. The crowd went silent. This was not what they expected. This was not how prey was supposed to behave. Did not try to match his strength. She did not try to block his blows. Instead, she studied him, watched him, learned him. Every attack revealed something new. The way he favored his left side, the slight hesitation before his heaviest strikes, the angle of his shoulders when he prepared to lunge. She was reading him like a book written in violence. Wu grew frustrated. His attacks became wilder, less controlled. He was used to opponents who stood and fought, opponents he could crush with raw power. This human would not stand still. She kept moving, kept dodging, kept watching. Stand and fight, he roared. Face me like a warrior. Said nothing. She was breathing hard now, sweat dripping down her face, but her eyes never wavered. They were locked on Wu, tracking every movement. Then she saw it, the opening. Wu lunged forward, claws extended. His weight shifted to his front foot. His balance was committed. Moved. She did not run away this time. She ran toward him. Her body dropped low, sliding under his reaching arms. Her fist drove into his knee with every ounce of strength she had. The crack echoed through the arena. Wu stumbled. His leg buckled. Pain exploded across his face. He caught himself before he fell, but the damage was done. The first blow had landed. The crowd gasped. Jin's scanner beeped frantically, leaned forward, his heart pounding. Wu looked down at his knee, then back at. For the first time, there was something new in his eyes. Respect. So, he said, his voice low and dangerous. That has claws after all. He attacked again, but differently now, more carefully, more precisely. He had stopped underestimating her. It did not matter. Had found her rhythm. She wove between his attacks, striking when she could, retreating when she had to. Every hit she landed was targeted. Joints, pressure points, weak spots in his scaled armor. She could not match his power, so she did not try. She attacked the things that power could not protect. But Wu was learning too. His claw caught her shoulder. The pain was blinding. Blood sprayed across the black stone floor. Stumbled, her arms suddenly weak and heavy. The crowd roared. This was what they came to see. Wu pressed his advantage. He struck her again, a massive blow to her ribs. She felt something crack inside her. Her vision blurred. Her legs wanted to collapse. She did not let them. She forced herself to stay standing. forced herself to keep breathing, forced herself to ignore the pain screaming through her body. Wu hit her again, and again. Each blow should have ended her. Each blow would have killed a normal opponent. But was not a normal opponent. She got back up every time, no matter how hard she was hit, no matter how much blood she lost, she refused to fall. The crowd's roars turned to whispers. The whispers turned to silence. 10,000 beings watched in disbelief as this small human took punishment that should have destroyed her and kept standing. Jin was shaking. His scanner could not explain what he was seeing. "Her injuries are severe," he said, his voice cracking. "Broken ribs, internal bleeding, possible concussion. She should be unconscious. She should be dead." "But she is not," said quietly. "She is still fighting." In the pit, Wu had stopped attacking. He was breathing heavily, his scales dark with sweat. His knee was still weak from his first strike. And now, for the first time in his life, he was feeling something he had never felt before. Fear. Not fear of losing, fear of this creature in front of him, this thing that would not die, this thing that looked at death and refused to acknowledge it. "What are you?" he whispered. Spat blood onto the floor. Her face was swollen. Her left eye was nearly closed, but when she smiled, her teeth were red and sharp. "I am human," she said, "and we do not know how to quit." She attacked. It was not graceful. It was not elegant. It was brutal and desperate and primal. She threw herself at him with everything she had left. Her fist struck his throat. Her knee drove into his damaged leg. Her elbow cracked against his skull. Wu fought back, but he was tired now, confused, afraid. This was not how fights were supposed to go. This was not how prey was supposed to act. They grappled, they fell. They rolled across the bloody floor, each trying to destroy the other. And then somehow was behind him. Her arm wrapped around his throat, her legs locked around his body. She squeezed with every ounce of strength she had left. Wu thrashed. He tried to throw her off. He tried to reach her with his claws, but she held on. She held on like Earth had taught her to hold on, with everything she had, with everything she was. Her lips were next to his ear. Her voice was a ragged whisper. "Yield," she said. "Yield or I will end you, your choice." The arena was silent. 10,000 beings held their breath. Wu's struggles grew weaker. His vision was darkening. His lungs were burning. He was the greatest warrior his species had ever produced. And he was about to lose to a human. His hand rose slowly. His fist opened. His palm struck the ground 3 times. The signal of surrender. The horn sounded. The fight was over. Released him and collapsed onto the cold stone floor. The last thing she saw before the darkness took her was running toward her, his silver face bright with tears. She had won. Woke up in the medical bay. The ceiling was white and bright. The air smelled like chemicals and clean sheets. She tried to move and pain exploded through her body. "Do not try to sit up." Was beside her bed. His silver face was tired, but his eyes were warm. He had been there for a long time. She could tell by the way his clothes were wrinkled. "How long?" she asked. Her voice was rough like sandpaper. 3 days. Jin has been working on you constantly. He says you should have died at least 4 times during the fight. He also says your body is healing faster than any species he has ever treated. He is very confused. I think he is also a little afraid." Tried to laugh, but it hurt too much. She settled for a small smile instead. "My sister." His face softened. "The colony ship was released the moment you won. Wu's warriors retreated. They took their warlord and left. His empire is already starting to fall apart. The only respect strength, and you prove that Wu is not the strongest anymore." "But is she safe?" "She arrived at the station 6 hours ago. She has been waiting outside this room ever since. Jin would not let her in because you needed rest. She has threatened to break down the door at least 3 times. This time did laugh. It hurt terribly, but she could not stop herself. That sounded exactly like. "Let her in," said. Nodded and walked to the door. He opened it, and a young woman burst into the room like a storm. She had the same dark hair as the same sharp eyes, but her face was softer, rounder, full of emotions that she had never learned to hide. Crossed the room in 3 steps and threw herself onto the bed, wrapping her arms around her sister. Gasped in pain, but she did not push her away. She pulled her closer. "You stupid idiot," sobbed into her shoulder. "You absolute moron, you could have died. You almost died. What were you thinking?" "I was thinking about you," whispered. "I was thinking about how our mother made me promise to protect you. I was thinking about how I would never break that promise." Pulled back, her face wet with tears. "I never asked you to fight for me. I never wanted you to get hurt." "I know, that is why I did it." They held each other for a long time, watched from the doorway, not wanting to intrude. Jin appeared beside him, checking readings on his tablet. "She is remarkable," Jin said quietly. "Her injuries were catastrophic. Any other species would have died, but she is healing, slowly but steadily. In a few weeks she will be completely recovered." "Humans are remarkable," agreed. "They are terrifying," Jin corrected. "I have updated my research files. Humans are now classified as the most resilient species I have ever studied. Their pain tolerance, their healing ability, their psychological determination. It is beyond anything I have seen." Thought about the fight. He thought about the way he had taken blow after blow, hit after hit, and kept standing. He thought about the fire in her eyes when she refused to surrender. "They are not just resilient," he said. "They are something else entirely, something the galaxy has never seen before." Over the next few days, the news of the fight spread across the galaxy. Reporters from 100 worlds broadcast the footage. Analysts debated what it meant. Politicians and generals discussed the implications. Humanity had always been seen as a curiosity, a strange species from a dangerous world, weak, primitive, interesting but not important. That changed overnight. The footage showed everything. It showed being beaten. It showed her bleeding. It showed her broken and battered and barely able to stand. And it showed her winning anyway. It showed her doing the impossible. Other species began asking questions. If one small human female could defeat a champion, what could a human army do? What could human scientists discover? What could human artists create? The answer, they realized, was anything. Humans could do anything, because they did not know how to stop. On the station, life slowly returned to normal. The cargo bay needed workers. The diplomats needed meetings. The universe kept spinning, indifferent to the battles fought in its name. But some things had changed forever. Was released from the medical bay on the 7th day. She was still weak, still healing, still covered in bandages, but she could walk, and that was enough. Met her at the door. He looked nervous, which was strange for a diplomat who had negotiated with warlords and kings. "I wanted to apologize," he said. Raised an eyebrow. "For what?" "For underestimating you, for trying to stop you, for not believing that you could win." She reached out and touched his arm. Her fingers were small against his silver skin. "You tried to protect me," she said. "That was kind. It was wrong, but it was kind. You did not know what I was. Most people do not." "I know now," said. "Yes, you do." They walked together through the station. Other species stepped aside as they passed. Some bowed their heads in respect. Others simply stared, trying to understand how this small woman had changed everything. Was waiting for them in the cafeteria. She had a plate of food ready, piled high with everything liked. When she saw her sister, she smiled. "I convinced the cooks to make real food," said. "Earth food. It took a lot of explaining. They were very confused about why anyone would eat something so spicy." Sat down and took a bite. It was not perfect. It was not home, but it was close enough to make her eyes water. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for saving me," replied, "even though it was stupid and reckless and you almost died. You would have done the same for me." Thought about that for a moment, then she nodded. "Yes, I would have." That evening, a galactic news broadcast aired across the station. It was a special report on the fight and its aftermath. Did not want to watch, but insisted. The broadcast showed interviews with experts, analysts, and historians. They all said the same thing in different ways. Humanity had proven itself. The galaxy would never see them the same way again. The final interview was with an elderly diplomat. He was ancient, his silver skin faded to gray. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had witnessed wars that shaped the galaxy. When asked what the fight meant, he was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. "We classified Earth as he said slowly. "We assumed that its inhabitants would be broken by it. We were fools. That world did not break them. It forged them. It made them into something we have never seen before, something that does not know how to surrender, something that does not understand the word impossible." He paused, his old eyes staring into the camera. The human female did not win because she was stronger. She won because she refused to lose. And that, more than anything, is what makes humanity dangerous. They do not fight until they are beaten. They fight until they win, always, no matter the cost. The broadcast ended. The room was quiet. Looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, other humans were living their lives, building homes, raising families, dreaming of futures they might never see. They did not know what she had done. Most of them never would. But that was okay. She had not fought for fame. She had not fought for glory. She had fought for and was safe. Stood beside her. "What will you do now?" he asked. Thought about it. She thought about going home. She thought about returning to her quiet life in the cargo bay. She thought about all the things she could do now that the fight was over. "I do not know," she said, "but whatever it is, I will not be alone." She looked at who was arguing with a cook about the proper way to prepare vegetables. She looked at who had stayed by her side when everyone else expected her to die. She looked at Jin, who was still trying to understand how her body worked. She was not alone. She never would be again. The stars burned bright outside the window. The galaxy was vast and strange and full of dangers, but somewhere in that darkness humanity was spreading, growing, becoming something new. And if the galaxy ever forgot what humans were made of, there would always be someone to remind them. Someone who refused to stop fighting. Someone who came from and carried its fire in her heart. Forever.